Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meet the Amir, the Crown Prince, during two-day visit to Kuwait. The visit by an Indian PM in 43 years aims to deepen historical and trade linkages with the Gulf nation. US Congress passes the Senate passes a spending bill to avert government shutdown. Bill is at White House for President Biden's final nod. US drops $10 million reward on Syria's new leader, Ahmad al-Shara. In Damascus talks, rebel promise fighting terrorism. World leaders express condolences after car crash attack in Germany in city of Magdeburg. 2 killed and several injured. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's two-day visit to Kuwait marks a significant milestone in India-Kuwait relations, being the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister in over 40 years. In fact, PM Modi's visit aims at deepening India's historical linkages with Kuwait, as the two nations have shared interest in peace, security and stability in West Asia. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi will be holding meetings with the Emir of Kuwait, the Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Kuwait. He will also interact with the Indian community, which is the largest expatriate community in Kuwait. The Prime Minister will also attend the inauguration ceremony of the Arabian Gulf Cup. As PM Modi embarked on a two-day visit to Kuwait, in his departure statement, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "We deeply value the historical connection with Kuwait that has been nurtured over generations. We are not just strong trade and energy partners, but also have shared interest in peace, security, stability and prosperity in West Asia region. Looking forward to my meetings with His Highness, the Amir, the Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Kuwait. It would be an opportunity to chalk out a roadmap for a futuristic partnership for the benefit of our people and the region. Eagerly look forward to meeting the Indian diaspora in Kuwait, who have immensely contributed to strengthening of bonds of friendship between the two nations." PM expressed his gratitude to the leadership of Kuwait for the special gesture of inviting me to the inauguration ceremony of the Arabian Gulf Cup, a premier sporting event in the Gulf region. I look forward to being a part of this celebration of athletic excellence and regional unity. PM said he was confident that this visit will further strengthen and reinforce the special ties and bonds of friendship between the people of India and Kuwait. Prime Minister Modi's two-day historic Kuwait visit, which comes at an invitation of the Emir of Kuwait, is going to be the first one by an Indian Prime Minister in over 40 years and is set to boost the ties between the two nations.
Modi, 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 Modi hai to mumkin hai.
Excitement brewing among the Indian diaspora in Kuwait ahead of the historic two-day visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Indian diaspora, which forms the largest expat community in Kuwait, is over 1 million strong, forming a living bridge between India and Kuwait. The members of the Indian diaspora claim the visit by Prime Minister Modi will strengthen the community and boost relations between the two nations.
The excitement was so much that my phone doesn't stop ringing. Everybody wants to come to the stadium to see him. Everybody is looking forward to it. Everyone wants to see him. He is a charisma of it. He has a charisma that I think I have not seen in anybody.
We have some great plans for welcoming him in our own way, and the whole community is working together, united. You've seen all our colleagues here. We worked very hard for the last few days to make sure the welcome is equal and if not better than many more welcomes in the Gulf.
India and Kuwait share a historic and dynamic relationship that spans decades, rooted in shared history, robust trade, vibrant cultural connections and mutual support during challenging times. In recent years, under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, the trade between the two nations has reached new heights. Kuwait is among India's top trading partners. Bilateral trade is valued at $10.47 billion for financial year 2023-24. Indian exports to Kuwait have reached $2 billion for the first time. Investments by Kuwait in India exceed $10 billion. Kuwait is India's 6th largest crude oil supplier and 4th largest LPG supplier.
I would say that the visit is coming after a gap of almost 4 decades. It is also the first high-level visit between both sides in 1 decade. It is also the first visit of Prime Minister Modi to Kuwait, and this is the only country which he has not visited in the Gulf region. So it carries a lot of symbolism.
The visit by Prime Minister Modi will involve several high-level engagements, with the Prime Minister engaging with the Indian diaspora as well, strengthening the historical ties between the two nations.
The wait of over 4 decades for the Indian community to welcome their Prime Minister is soon coming to an end, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi all set to arrive in Kuwait. This historic visit by Prime Minister is not only going to cement the relationships between the two countries, but also take it to new, unprecedented levels. In Kuwait City, with camera person Rajesh Ricky and PK, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
As PM Modi is on a visit to Kuwait, let us now take a look at the various facets of India-Kuwait relationship over the years. In Kuwait, in a humanitarian gesture, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also meet a rare person who has crossed a century of his life and living in the city. The request for meeting was made by the old man's granddaughter on social media platform X, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, showing how he connects with Indian citizens even through social media, accepted the request, saying that he is looking forward to meet Mangal Sen Handa, 101-year-old ex-foreign service officer in Kuwait, during his interaction with the Indian diaspora. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar presided over the inaugural session of the 5th Global Alumni Meet of Punjab University in Chandigarh on Saturday. Addressing the event, Vice President Dhankar said the countries are known by the institutions they nurture, as institutions catalyze changes and create concepts. The Golden Batch of 1974 and Silver Batch 1999 was honored in the event, along with the special citations for outstanding alumni. The event brought together over 1,200 alumni from across the globe, celebrating achievements, fostering collaboration and strengthening ties.
Countries are known by the institutions they nurture, because it is the institutions that are crucibles of innovation, change, research. They catalyze big change. They create concepts. It is their innovation that is translated by industry, by process of execution. And therefore, countries that are ahead in research and develop research are the countries that emerge as world leaders.
The 72nd plenary of the North-Eastern Council, chaired by India's Home Minister Amit Shah, is being held in Tripura's capital Agartala. Minister of Development of North-Eastern Region Jyotiraditya Scindia, along with governors, chief ministers and senior administrative officials of all the northeastern states, are attending the day-long NEC meeting. The NEC was established in 1971, and its remarkable achievements over the decades are from constructing over 11,500 kilometers of roads to boosting power generation and improving airport infrastructure. Let's take a look at other stories making news. Union Minister Bhupender Yadav and Minister of State K.C. Vardhan Singh released the India State of Forest Report 2023 on Saturday in Dehradun. As per the report, the forest and tree cover has increased by 1,445 square kilometers since the year 2021, which makes the overall green land cover at 25.17% and of total land. Lieutenant General D.G. Mishra, General Officer Commanding of the Uttar Bharat area, inaugurated the Kundram La Memorial on Friday. The memorial is a tribute to the valor and courage of 102 brave personnel of Indian Army and Indian Air Force who lost their lives in an ill-fated 12 crash in 1968. And the Indian Army announced on Saturday that the Army Day Parade for the year 2025 will be held in Pune on 15th of January. The parade commemorates Field Marshal K.M. Cariappa's appointment as the first Indian Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Army in 1949, symbolizing India's post-independence military leadership. In South Korea, tens of thousands protested in Seoul on Saturday, a week after President Yoon was impeached over his short-lived declaration of martial law. Supporters and people opposing Yoon's move held demonstrations and in the heart of the capital, several hundred meters apart from one another. Yoon's presidential powers are suspended, but he remains in office. Yoon is yet to respond to attempts to contact him by the Constitutional Court, which decides whether to remove him from office or restore his presidential powers.
I came here with so much anger. I truly believe martial law is justified and acceptable. No matter how much I think about it, it's all because of the fake news, the spread of false information and the manipulation of public opinion that is pushing this country towards left-wing ideologies, and we can't sleep because of it. I'm so upset. It brings me to tears and I'm really heartbroken. That's why I came out today to strongly condemn this.
At least 2 people were killed and dozens more injured in a suspected attack at a Christmas market in Magdeburg, Germany on Friday. According to the authorities, the attack occurred when a car deliberately rammed into a crowd of people at a market, resulting in multiple fatalities and injuries. Emergency response teams, including around 100 firefighters and 50 rescue personnel, were quickly deployed to the scene to assist the wounded and transport them to nearby hospitals. Officials described the incident as an intentional attack and announced that the driver had been taken into custody at the scene. The Interior Minister for Saxony-Anhalt, Tamara Seeshang, identified the suspect as a 50-year-old doctor from Saudi Arabia who arrived in Germany in 2006. Following the attack, Saudi Arabia condemned the ramming attack at a Christmas market and expressed solidarity with Germany after one of its nationals was arrested. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who sent his thoughts to those affected in a post on social media platform X, is expected to visit the scene on Saturday together with Interior Minister Nancy Faeser. World leaders expressed condolences for the victims of an attack in Germany. Taking to the social media post on X, the President of the European Council said he was appalled by the horrific news from Magdeburg, adding that the EU stands in solidarity with Germany, while French President wrote on X that he was profoundly shocked by the attack. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Yemen strikes central Israel with ballistic missile. Russia's Kazan Airport has temporarily suspended flight arrivals and departures. Stay tuned to know more. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau reshuffled his cabinet.
There have been a string of decisions coming from Dhaka which have caused concern in our security establishment, particularly about the Northeast region.
Terrorist outfits are increasing their actions and they are actually desperate to cause turbulence within India.
Between 2022 and 2024, 60 cadres of ABT have been arrested in West Bengal, in Assam and in Tripura, and 30 are from Bangladesh. So these are very worrying developments.
Every inch of the border is guarded, and we are very sure that none of these militants can penetrate.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Russia's Kazan Airport has temporarily suspended flight arrivals and departures following a Ukrainian drone attack on the city. Russia's aviation watchdog Rosaviatsia said that the attack prompted the halt in operations. Russian state news agencies reported that there was 8 drone strikes in the city, with 6 targeting residential structures. Meanwhile, airport operations have also been temporarily restricted at the airport in Izhevsk, a smaller city northeast of Kazan. Meanwhile, both Russia and Ukraine on Friday accused each other of launching deadly missile strike. Ukraine struck the small town of Rilsk in Russia's Kursk region, killing 6, including a child, and wounding 10, said the governor, Alexander. The border region is partly occupied by the Ukrainian forces. The Kursk governor accused Kiev of firing US-supplied HIMARS rocket system on civilian targets, saying the strike damaged buildings, including a school and the dormitory of a pilot training college. The attack came hours after Russian missiles hit central Kyiv early Friday, killing at least 1 person and damaging embassies. Moscow claimed the dawn attack as retaliation for a strike using Western missiles on a chemical plant earlier in the week. A loud explosion was heard on early Saturday morning as sirens blared over central Israel after it was struck by ballistic missile fired by Yemen, missile that fell in the Tel Aviv Jaffa area, including injured, in fact, at least 16 people who were then taken to hospital. In another long-range attempt against Israel, the Houthis have claimed responsibility of targeting, Israel with a hypersonic ballistic missile. Spokesperson for the Houthis said they had hit a military target in Jaffa area using a Palestine II hypersonic ballistic missile. The Houthis have repeatedly fired drones and missiles towards Israel since the October 2023 conflict. The United States has removed the long-standing $10 million bounty on the de facto leader of Syria, Ahmed al-Shara, following high-level U.S. delegation meeting with the leader in Damascus. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs, Barbara Leaf, one of 3 U.S. officials who sat down with Ahmed al-Shara in Damascus, described the policy decision as one aligned with the need to work on critical issues such as combating terrorism. All right, and let's take you across to Kuwait now, where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived. This is a very significant and historic visit by the Indian Prime Minister, as in over 4 decades, any Indian Prime Minister is visiting Kuwait. This is a very significant visit by the Indian Prime Minister. These are the visuals that we are getting for you. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Kuwait, a very significant visit by the Indian Prime Minister. Prime Minister's visit to Kuwait is yet another milestone in India's diplomatic outreach to Gulf region, which New Delhi considers as part of its extended neighborhood. Well, for all the viewers who have just joined in, these are the visuals that we are getting for you. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Kuwait, a very significant and in fact historic visit by Indian Prime Minister. In over 4 decades, any Indian Prime Minister is visiting Kuwait. This visit is historic and significant as it will strengthen the bilateral relations between the two nations, India and Kuwait. PM's visit to Kuwait is yet another milestone in India's diplomatic outreach to the Gulf region, and this will be the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Kuwait in 43 years. Prime Minister Modi's trip is expected to deepen bilateral relations, particularly in energy, trade and labour cooperation. All right, and we've been joined by our correspondent Akshay Dongre, who is in Kuwait. Hi, Akshay. First visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Kuwait in over 4 decades. How significant?
Well, quite significant, Siddharth, when we look at the kind of diplomatic outreach that you were talking about. It is unparalleled, when we talk about the outreach that has been done by the Prime Minister in the last 11 years. In fact, Prime Minister has visited almost all the countries of the Gulf region. It was only Kuwait that was left, and now after a wait of about 43 years, Indian Prime Minister is once again coming to the country. So the diaspora especially is elated at the arrival of the Indian Prime Minister. They say that they finally will get to welcome their Prime Minister to the country. Now, the relation between the two countries have been significant, but talking about the diaspora, which is going to be the key focus. In fact, right now where I'm standing is the camp where the Prime Minister will also be visiting to meet the workforce that comes from India, that contributes to the Kuwaiti society. In fact, Indians are the largest expat community here in Kuwait, with a population of over 1 million. So we can say that about a million workforce coming from India contributes to the Kuwaiti society, and that is perhaps one of the largest contribution any foreign country gives in terms of labor force, and that is why Prime Minister's key focus is going to be this labor camp where PM will be coming, interacting with the labor with the workers here who have left their homes behind and are contributing to the country, and are giving what Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called a Shramdan. So these Shramjivis will be one of the key focus, and in fact one of the first engagement of the Prime Minister once he arrives in Kuwait.
Definitely, Akshay. We also saw a wonderful, a report by you earlier. And I hope tell us something more about how excited is the diaspora population. In fact, I am presuming that where you are right now, you are surrounded by the Indian diaspora there. How excited are they? What are they saying? They want to see Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They want to shake hands with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. What all they are saying?
Well, in fact, people are lining up, Siddharth, when it comes to this particular, labor camp. People have also been coming from different parts of the country just to get a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Obviously, there has to be certain security clearances required for that to happen. But there is a lot of palpable excitement that is visible, not just at this particular labor camp, but across the country. So we have been traveling to gauge a sense of excitement that is here in the Indian diaspora, but it's not just the Indian community that is excited, but a lot of South Asian expats that are living here, they are also quite excited as well, saying that somebody from their region is coming, and a leader like Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he comes here, then naturally not just for Indians but also for the South Asian people, the respect by the Kuwaiti people, it automatically goes up. So the relation have been great always, but this visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi is historic in many sense, because it's taking place after 4 decades, as we have been talking about, but it's also going to boost the relations, the trade between the two countries, so that is going to be quite significant as well. Back to you, Siddharth.
Definitely, Akshay. When I was there in Guyana, and I was surrounded by the Indian diaspora there, they just wanted to see a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they were saying that if they will get a chance to talk to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, they will say that sir, you're the best leader in the world. Such is the aura of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Akshay, tell us more about India-Kuwait trade relations a bit.
Well, Siddharth, the trade relation between the two countries is quite significant. In fact, Kuwait is the 6th largest crude oil supplier to India. It is the 4th largest LPG supplier to the country. The investment by the Kuwaiti Investment Authority has, for the first time, crossed 10 billion mark. The bilateral trade at this moment is about 10.47 billion US dollar. And for the first time ever, the Indian exports to Kuwait have also crossed 2 billion mark. So while the trade has been steadily going up, there's a lot more that needs to be done, and perhaps that's the reason why Prime Minister Narendra Modi decided finally to come here to make this bilateral trade multifold, and that is perhaps going to happen after Prime Minister comes. There are a lot of agendas on the card, and that is going to significantly boost the trade as well.
Definitely, Akshay, a significant and historic visit by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we'll keep taking you on air. Akshay, thank you so much. We'll leave it there as of now. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Friday reshuffled his cabinet, changing 1/3 of his team as political turmoil threatens his leadership. In Friday's reset, 8 new ministers were appointed to replace those in the 35-member cabinet who have signalled they will not seek re-election, and to relieve others of their double or triple duties in government. 4 current ministers were given new responsibilities. The reshuffle came at the end of a chaotic week in Ottawa, spurred by a surprise resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who clashed with her boss over Trump's threats to impose sweeping tariffs on Canadian imports. Her exit, after nearly a decade at Trudeau's side, marked the first open dissent against the Prime Minister from within his cabinet and has emboldened critics. New Democratic Party leader Jagdeep Singh, who has been helping keep Trudeau in office, said he would present a formal motion of no confidence after the House of Commons elected chamber returns from a winter break on January 27. If all the opposition parties back the motion, Trudeau will be out of office after more than 9 years as Prime Minister, and an election will take place. Tens of thousands of Cubans flooded the streets of Havana on Friday, rallying against U.S. sanctions in a protest led by Raul Castro and President Miguel Diaz-Canel. And chanting down with the blockade, protesters gathered before the U.S. Embassy, marking the first organized demonstration there in over a decade. Diaz-Canel condemned President Joe Biden for failing to reverse harsh measures imposed by Donald Trump, including Cuba's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism, which restricts financial transactions. With the nation reeling from economic hardships like power outages and food shortages, Cuban leaders accused U.S. policies of exacerbating the crisis. The protest underscores Cuba's intensifying resistance as fears grow over potential harsher policies. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. An ethnic rebel group in Myanmar captured the junta's military regional command at An in Rakhine State on Friday. The rebel group claims this will be a huge blow to the junta, as this is second military command to fall within 5 months. Indonesia's national police raided a building allegedly functioning as narcotics production facility in West Java province. The drugs were packed in plastic sachet as happy waters with animated pictures to lure children. During the raid, 2 men were also arrested in fact by the police. The seized drugs cost more than 670 billion Indonesian rupiah. The Inter-American Court of Human Rights condemned El Salvador's ban on abortion, which punishes the involved parties with prison term. Taking cognizance of an 11-year-old case, the court ordered the country to have proper guidelines in place for medical and judicial personnel to ensure clarity in such cases. And Croatia's capital witnessed mass vigil by locals on Friday evening after a 7-year-old child was murdered in a knife attack in school. The attacker was later detained by authorities and is believed to be a former student of the same school. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian Space Research Organization and European Space Agency signed deal for advancing human space flight. And the first World Meditation Day being observed under the theme Inner Peace, Global Harmony.
Pollution of all types across the globe is a huge problem. But what is the solution to this? Does it require individual efforts, community action, or state interference? Let's take a look at some of the possibilities, challenges and opportunities.
They have to segregate their waste, manage their organic waste within their premises as far as possible. They have to hand over the rest of the waste, the residual waste, to the authorized waste collector.
When the local administration saw what I had done, it decided to build the drainage system you see here, connecting the whole area to it.
Trees are our lifesavers. They give us oxygen, and it's unfair to harm them by hammering iron nails into them just for the sake of ads.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and a quick recap of headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to meet the Amir, the Crown Prince, during 2-day visit to Kuwait. The visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 43 years aims to deepen historical and trade linkages with the Gulf nation. US Senate passes a spending bill to avert government shutdown. Bill is at White House for President Biden's final nod. US drops $10 million reward on Syria's new leader Ahmad al-Shara. In Damascus talks, rebels promise fighting terrorism. The US Congress has passed a funding bill that averts a government shutdown. The bill, which was passed with a bipartisan effort, will fund the government at current levels through March 14. More in this report.
The US Senate in the early hours of Saturday passed a stopgap funding package, defying President-elect Donald Trump's demand to greenlight trillions of dollars in new debt. The bill was passed after 2 failed attempts, averting a government shutdown that would have furloughed thousands of federal workers and bring a tumultuous week in the Congress to a close.
I have very good news for my colleagues and for the country. Democrats and Republicans have just reached an agreement that will allow us to pass the CR tonight before the midnight deadline. After a chaotic few days in the House, it's good news that the bipartisan approach in the end prevailed. It's a good lesson for next year. Both sides have to work together.
The US senators voted 85 to 11 to approve a continuing resolution that extends funding at current levels until March 14, provides more than $100 billion in disaster assistance to areas ravaged by hurricanes and other storms, includes economic assistance for farmers. Some Republicans voted against the package because it did not cut spending. US House Speaker Mike Johnson said the party will have more influence next year when they will have majorities in both chambers of the Congress and Trump will be in the White House. Earlier, the bill was passed in the House of Representatives with 341 to 82 votes.
We are really grateful that tonight, in bipartisan fashion, with overwhelming majority of votes, we passed the American Relief Act of 2025. This is a very important piece of legislation. It funds the government, of course, until March of 2025. That was a big priority for us.
Spending plan, known as a continuing resolution, has a bipartisan support. It would fund government through March 14. Deal contains nearly $100 billion in disaster aid and $10 billion more in banking relief for farmers. It would also extend Farm Bill by 1 year, will continue to allow more seniors to use telehealth and reform how pharmacy benefits managers, known as PBMs, operate. More disaster aid funding. Deal would provide nearly $100 billion to help Americans recover from natural disasters. Funding is in line with roughly $100 billion top-line request from Biden administration in November. Bill includes $10 billion in economic aid for farmers. Spending agreement includes 1-year extension of the Farm Bill. The bill will now head to President Joe Biden's desk for his signatures. Antra Sinha's report for DD India.
All right, and DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh is joining us live. Hi Shubhendu, the spending bill has been passed now and the shutdown has been averted. Get us a little background of what transpired.
Right, Siddharth, we have to understand the importance of what the spending bill is in the larger ecosystem of the US government. You have to understand that for the essential services for the payment of wages, the US government needs to borrow money at regular intervals to be able to make those payments.
Okay.
And these borrowing have to be cleared through the spending bill. When these borrowings are accumulated, that leads to the national debt. United States today is the country in the world that has the highest debt to GDP ratio. It's about 125%. If I simplify that into figures, the US economy is about $29 trillion. The debt that it holds today is approximately worth $36 trillion. So it is very important to keep the debt in order, and therefore increasing the debt ceiling, that was a point of contention in the chaos that we've seen in the Capitol Hill for the past couple of days, was the point of contention. Increasing the debt ceiling that President Donald Trump would have preferred, ideally perhaps even doing away with the debt ceiling, which gives a free play to the government to borrow as much as they need, does jeopardize this debt to GDP wisdom of economy. In that sense, that was at the heart of the chaos that we've been witnessing. But the solution that has been found at the moment has nothing to do with the debt ceiling. They haven't touched the debt ceiling, but the funding has been provided for the payments to be taken forward till March of next year. This is going to be just about a month and a half after President-elect Donald Trump starts his new term. So in that sense, we have to watch out for another similar tussle that would await the then President Trump just about a month and a half into White House.
Indeed, Shubhendu, I mean, you've brilliantly told us, the background of what transpired. But Shubhendu, how does these developments around the bill impact Trump 2.0?
That's an interesting question, Siddharth. Now, we have to understand that the landscape of the US Capitol and US politics, for that matter, is set to transform next year. All the elections are, of course, done. Donald Trump, Republican president, will take the White House. The Republicans would also have a majority, although a slim majority, in both the House of Representatives as well as the Senate. So theoretically, on paper, it may seem it's going to be a cakewalk for President Donald Trump. But we've just seen the second bill that was supported by President-elect Donald Trump was shot down. And in shooting down that bill, there were about 38 Republicans members of his own party in the House of Representatives who opposed it. The House of Representatives, they also see a certain wisdom in maintaining the concept of debt ceiling. A similar status quo might be there when President Trump takes power next year, when he has to negotiate with the House of Representatives. Although it will have a majority of the Republicans in the House, he may still face a similar challenge. And also, besides the spending bill, there would be additional reforms that President Trump would want to move forward with, particularly the tax cuts that he is popular for. But again, those tax cuts put additional fiscal burden that adds to the debt to GDP ratio that I spoke about. So in that sense, we are actually on a standby to see another tussle between the White House and the House of Congress come March 2025.
All right. And Shubhendu, can you tell us more about the dynamics between Trump and Elon Musk in the entire drama that unfolded?
Absolutely, Siddharth. One person who is not the part of the government as yet, but does exercise significant influence, some would say disproportionate influence, is Elon Musk. We've seen through the campaigning season the manner in which there was a camaraderie for everyone to see. Donald Trump, of course, has appointed Elon Musk to head the Department of Efficiency. But we saw that when the first version of the bill came, a bipartisan bill to take care of the spending of the government, Elon Musk was the first person to tweet. Multiple tweets came out saying that this was a left-leaning spending bill and should not be supported. It was immediately followed by Donald Trump, in fact, putting his weight behind the opposition to the bill, and we saw the bill being shot down. In that sense, many Democrats in particular, perhaps jokingly, but are referring to Elon Musk as the shadow president, that he is the one who perhaps is taking the shots. Some even called him President Elon Musk and referred to Donald Trump as just Donald Trump. We'll have to wait and watch how this influence on Donald Trump pans out for Elon Musk in the coming weeks, especially after Donald Trump becomes the next president of the United States. Many say that this friendship, given how outspoken both of them are, may be short-lived, but it would be interesting to watch out how they play together or don't.
Definitely. We'll leave with that. Thank you so much, Shubhendu. In other news, US President Joe Biden on Friday approved $571.3 million in defense assistance for Taiwan as the Democrat prepares to leave office ahead of the January inauguration of Donald Trump. The White House briefly stated President Biden had authorized his Secretary of State to oversee the withdrawal of up to $571.3 million in defense equipment, services and military education and training from the Department of Defense to support Taiwan. The new military assistance package follows a similar $567 million package authorized less than 3 months ago. Meanwhile, US State Department has also approved the potential sale of about $265 million of command, control, communications and computer modernization equipment to Taiwan. Additionally, it has approved the sale of over $5 billion in arms to Egypt, along with the sale of Aerosonde uncrewed aircraft systems and armored security vehicles to Greece for $130 million. American multinational corporation Google late on Friday countered a US call to sell its Chrome browser, suggesting a judge addressed antitrust concerns by barring the firm from making favorable treatment of its software a condition of licensing. Google filed a 12-page proposed order banning the internet giant from requiring favorable distribution or treatment of its software on mobile devices as a condition of licensing popular apps like Chrome, Play or Gemini. In contrast, the US government launched a significant antitrust crackdown on Google in November, asking a judge to mandate the company's deconstruction through the sale of its popular Chrome browser. The US Department of Justice called for a reorganization of Google's operations, which would include prohibiting agreements that would make Google the default search engine on cell phones and stopping the company from taking advantage of its Android mobile operating system. Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO and the European Space Agency have signed an agreement to cooperate on activities related to astronaut training, mission implementation and research experiments. The signing comes ahead of the upcoming Axiom 4 mission. The pact provides a framework for cooperative activities in human space exploration and research. The agreement includes use of ESA facilities on International Space Station, human and biomedical research experiment implementation, as well as joint education and outreach activities. This partnership advances India's human spaceflight capabilities and global collaboration. Taking a break from the hectic pace of life, people across the globe are celebrating World Meditation Day under the theme Inner Peace, Global Harmony. December 21 marks the first ever World Meditation Day, a global initiative promoting mindfulness, mental health and inner peace. Meditation practitioners and enthusiasts worldwide are gearing up to observe this day with various activities. Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations in New York organized meditation for global peace and harmony. Ambassador P. Harish, in his welcome address, underscored the importance of the ancient Indian practice of dhyan as an instrument for personal fulfillment and inner peace, rooted in the civilizational dictum of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. Indian Guru and spiritual leader Sri Ravi Shankar, who also gave a special meditation session during the event to more than 600 enthusiastic participants, highlighted multiple benefits and dimensions associated with meditation in his keynote address. India co-sponsored a UN General Assembly draft resolution on December 6 that was unanimously adopted to proclaim December 21 as World Meditation Day. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings on World Meditation Day, highlighting to embrace the meditation as a daily practice and its role in fostering peace and harmony. PM Modi on social media platform X said, as I quote, "Today, on World Meditation Day, I call upon everyone to make meditation a part of their daily lives and experience its transformative potential. Meditation is a powerful way to bring peace and harmony to one's life as well as to our society and planet. In the age of technology, apps and guided videos can be valuable tools to help incorporate meditation into our routines." Unquote. And still to come on DD India News Hour. India to face Bangladesh in Under-19 Women's Asia Cup final on Sunday. Indian women's team is set to host Maldives for 2 FIFA international friendly matches. And PM Modi urges everyone to visit Ran Utsav in Gujarat's Kutch.
In light of recent developments, can we expect something different with regard to China-India relations, and is there hope for some kind of stability between these two giants of Asia?
I think we should be prepared that China will always seek in this period ahead to contain India. It seeks to contain India in South Asia, for instance. It seeks to contain India when we speak of expansion of the permanent membership of the Security Council. It has never been a supporter. It has sought to contain India on various fronts, so it obviously sees India as a rival.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chaired the 55th GST Council meeting in Rajasthan's Jaisalmer on Saturday. The meeting focused on key issues related to goods and services tax. Chief Ministers of Goa, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Meghalaya and Odisha, Deputy Chief Ministers of Arunachal Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Telangana, and Finance Ministers of several states and union territories took part in the meeting. Earlier on Friday, the Finance Minister held the pre-budget consultations in Jaisalmer with Finance Ministers of states and union territories ahead of the financial year 2025-26 union budget. Crisis hit auto giant Volkswagen said on Friday that it plans to axe 35,000 jobs by 2030 in Germany. After reaching an agreement with unions on a drastic cost-cutting plan, the deal struck at the end of marathon negotiations with labour representatives will save Europe's largest car maker around $4.2 billion a year. Although the dominant metalworkers union in Germany, IG Metall, hailed the agreement, which came just in time for Christmas and put an end to rolling strikes, saying it had averted forced redundancies and plant closures. Volkswagen had originally said it was considering completely shuttering production sites in Germany, which would have been an unprecedented move in the 87-year history of the car maker. Switzerland and the European Union on Friday unveiled a deal to carry out the biggest overhaul of their trade ties in years, overcoming Swiss concerns about immigration and setting the scene for a fraught and lengthy approval process, covering everything from electricity to state aid, transport and freedom of movement, plus Bern's financial contribution to the bloc. The accord drew the EU and its fourth biggest export market closer and gave added certainty to Swiss companies that rely heavily on the 27-nation alliance for business. Though it faces big tests before ratification, the deal is a step forward from the last bid, which failed in 2021 when Bern abruptly pulled out. Brazilian President Lula Silva reassured the newly appointed director of the central bank, Gabriel Galli Polo, that his administration would not interfere with the institution's work. This comes amid a deepening economic crisis in Brazil, with the Brazilian real plummeting to an all-time low earlier this week. However, after the central bank intervened by holding US dollar auctions, the real saw a brief recovery of 0.8%.
Eu quero que você saiba que jamais.
I want you to know that the president will never ever interfere with the work you have to do at the central bank. Good luck, dear, and may you be the mirror so that the Brazil can see that we are fixing Brazil.
Para que este Brasil.
Argentina's President Javier Milei made an announcement on Friday, starting that he stated, in fact, that the nation is progressing toward a free trade agreement with the United States. President Milei made the statement in a speech to the members of Cordoba Stock Exchange.
Basically, I have to tell you that we will indeed move forward with a free trade agreement with the United States. Just yesterday and today, it was reaffirmed by the spokesperson of the President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, that we will work to achieve a free trade agreement with the United States.
Donald Trump.
Time now for sport updates. And in women's cricket, India is set to clash with Bangladesh in the final of the inaugural Under-19 Women's Asia Cup on Sunday. The women in blue, led by Nikki Prasad, defeated Sri Lanka by 4 wickets in the Super 4 match. India chased down the target in just 14.5 overs. Batting first, Sri Lanka scored 98 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in their 20 overs. India's Ayushi took 4 wickets while Parunika bagged 2. Meanwhile, Bangladesh women beat Nepal by 9 wickets in the other Super 4 match. The Indian women's cricket team and West Indies women's cricket team arrived in Vadodara, Gujarat ahead of their first ODI match on Sunday. The 3-match series is part of the ICC Women's Championship and will be played at the Kotambi Stadium in Gujarat. The Indian team head into the ODI series high on confidence after registering a 2-1 series win over West Indies in the recently concluded 3-match T20I series. On the other hand, the West Indies will aim to bounce back in the ODI series, which will carry crucial points for the ongoing ICC Women's Championship. An arrest warrant has been issued against former Indian cricketer Robin Uthappa following allegations of Provident Fund fraud. The warrant was issued by the PF Regional Commissioner, who also directed Pulkeshi Nagar Police to take necessary action. However, police revealed that Uthappa has not resided at the address mentioned in the warrant for over a year. Uthappa, who managed a private company, is accused of deducting PF contributions from employees' salaries but failing to deposit the funds into their accounts. Indian women's team will host Maldives for 2 FIFA international friendly matches on 30th of December and 2nd of January. The matches will be played at the Padukone Dravid Centre for Sports Excellence in Bengaluru. As per the latest FIFA rankings, India is ranked 69th, while Maldives is at 163. Indian team was last seen in action at the SAF Women's Championship in October, where they lost to Nepal in the semi-finals. In soccer, Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has revealed defender Ruben Dias will be out for 3 or 4 weeks due to muscle injury sustained in their 2-1 defeat to Manchester United. The 27-year-old will miss City's entire festive fixture schedule and the FA Cup third round tie against Salford on January 11. City would hope Diaz is available for the crucial Champions League clash with Paris Saint-Germain on January 22nd. Currently sitting 5th in the league table, City have managed to win just 1 game in their last 11 matches across all competitions. Russian skaters have been allowed to compete as neutrals for the ice skating competition at the 2026 Winter Olympics. ISU announced a pathway to allow a limited number of individual neutral athletes to participate under strict conditions in designated Olympic qualifying events for the 2025-26 season. The decision applies to figure skating and speed skating disciplines. Just 15 Russian athletes were permitted to take part in the Paris Olympics this summer, competing as neutrals. Promoting the Ran Utsav in Gujarat's Kutch, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged everyone to experience the ongoing festival. In a post on X, he wrote, "Kutch awaits you all. Come discover the pristine white Ran." This spectacular culture and warm hospitality of Kutch during the ongoing Ran Utsav. The festival, which goes on till March 2025, promises to be an unforgettable experience for you and your family.
यहाँ की शानदार टेंट सिटी का लक्जरी से भरा अनुभव आपको बुलाता है, तो क्राफ्ट बाजार में कच्छ की आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट की सुंदरता आपको बांध लेती है। प्रतिदिन होते सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम में ढेरों फन एक्टिविटीज के साथ चटाकेदार कच्छी और गुजराती खाने का स्वाद मिलेगा। यहाँ रणोत्सव पहुंचना और एक्सप्लोर करना हो आसान, यहाँ का अनुभव हो शानदार, इसीलिए यहाँ है विशेष वॉल्वो बस की सुविधाएं। तो आइए और अनुभव।
India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.